Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday night, and you are in my sewing room. I am Sue Poser. I am the very fortunate owner of Gruber's Quilt Shop in Wade Park, Minnesota. With me tonight is my husband, Gene.
Hello.
He's running the camera, and hopefully we're all online, so if you guys hear us and see us, hopefully we figured out all the glitches and whatever that is on iPad world. Are we working?
Well, we've got three people right now and waiting for comments to come up, but they'll come 5 now. So Lori's watching. Thank you, Lori.
Oh, thanks.
We're good.
All right, tonight I am putting my binding on my quilts. So what am I really focusing on tonight is flanges. So if you put binding on quilts, a lot of us are familiar, have these, right? Just a simple binding going around, and that's my binding. That's one way to do binding. Another way, a really good friend of mine, her name was Donna Hargis. She would do a decorative stitch around on her machine, and so it would cover her binding as she went around, so you could do it by machine. Amazing talent to be able to do that, and Donna is one of the most talented people I know. So that's another way to do binding. So just a plain simple binding, a decorative binding, and tonight what I want to show you is a flange binding. Look how cute that is going around. And it's very, very, very simple to do. Jan made this one, so obviously she did the little monster thing on her machine because she has an embroidery machine. And then she put this little decorative stitch around. So how do you do the decorative stitch? Well, you take 2 strips of fabric. Your flange is going to be a 1/2 inch bigger than your binding. Does that make sense? So if I open this up and I take a ruler, my flange is going to be 1 3/4 inches. And my binding is only going to be 1 inch and, give me a drum roll, you guys know how to add this. Remember, math classes is pretty simple.
This would be subtraction.
1.5 inches, yes. So 1.5 inches and 1 3/4 inches. So 1.5 inches is my binding, which is the gray. My flange, which is a pretty little decorative purple going around, is 1 3/4 inches. So then you sew them all together, and then I want you to take this amazing glue, which is liquid starch, and you're going to basically glide it along here, and it gives the most crisp, beautiful finish you ever wanted. So you can bend it over if you want. Hit it with your iron. Don't move your iron along, just put it down. And it seals it, and it gives you that beautiful, clean finish. Do you need to see that again? So this is making my flange.
I'll open it up and see what it looks like.
Oh, it's going to be glued. So it kind of glues right there. It just makes it really flat. And that's what's really nice. That's what's really nice about it, because it gives me that beautiful, beautiful flange.
Yes.
I'll show you it again. So I am making table toppers or placemats, and I did the same thing here. Basically, I finished it all the way around, added an extra 1/2 inch, and I'm going to be seaming it around. So this is my finished one, and to get to that point, I have gone all the way around here. So what I had done basically is, here's my flange. You can see it coming around. And so my binding is the black. So I take both of these, go back to the beginning here, stitch them around. And I meant to have them stitched. That's what I didn't do tonight when I came home from the store, Gene, was stitch these together. So put them right sides together, stitch them, and fold them, and they give me this beautiful little finish. So the seam would be in there. Does that make sense to everybody? So it forms a little flange like this. The black and then the little burnt orange or whatever going around it. So when I stitch this on, it gives me an edge like this. And then all I do, I treat it just like binding, and I go all the way around, stitch around, get to my corners, just like normal. I will fold it down and bring this around, and it gives me that perfect 1/4 inch. This is where you can, if you like, you take the other glue, and I'm going to put 2 dots down here. So this is the liquid starch glue. 2 dots. So I bring this down, it holds it, bring my flap over. It's going to give me the 1/4 inch right there. So I can dab it down instead of taking a pin and sticking it in there, basically bringing it down and over. And I'm going to be hitting it with
the cord.
You shouldn't iron on top of cords.
No, I want to keep it away from the iron too.
And bring it down and around.
Sorry I interrupted your
That's all right.
miter.
I'm kind of going backwards here. So let's go this way. Right over left and bring it down. And it'll sit flatter. There's my perfect miter. So glue down all the way around. Hit it with my iron. I didn't put a dab right in that spot, but it'll be bringing it down.
Pretty good.
It is. It's holding it very nicely. So there's my little 1/4 inch mitered corner. And a little dab of glue will do it. And this should be a song, a little dab of glue will do it, right?
And it's a nice flange.
It is. Isn't it pretty? So that's how easy it is, you guys. It gives you a wonderful finish. So the flange becomes a 1/2 inch bigger than your miter, than your binding. And when I put it down, it'll all stick. This thing is priceless. I love these glues. Put it on there. There it is. No pin required. Yeah. Amen. So to do that, as you can see, I'm having fun with this. But I really like how that gives a different look on your binding. So then all you do is go around. Make sure you put the little top out on it. And I go all the way around. And this is where, if you're really good, my daughter is very good about doing this by machine. As was, is that on the floor now?
Jan.
Jan's.
Want me to get it?
No, Jan is really good at doing that too. So if you can, she did this by machine. So you can see it basically running along your edge right here. And you can see that, Gino? Running right through there. So it goes right along my purple.
Your flange.
Yeah, right along the purple flange. I have never been good at doing that. So I watch a baseball game, a football game or something. And partially watch it and I just stitch it down. So I would use orange thread basically, and I would just stitch it down right here, which is what I was doing with this one. So this one I did in orange, and this one I am doing in yellow. And I think I was starting to stitch it down somewhere. Somewhere one of these was getting stitched because I have a needle in it. Because I left.
That one has a needle in the right down here.
There it is. Because once again, this is how your flange looks when I stitch it. I knew I had stitched something down for you guys. So I've got my flange going, and it ends up being equal to my binding, which is the black area. So then I just hit it with, I put a little bit of acorn liquid starch along the edge here, press it down, and it just makes it set in there so nicely. It's just, I love the finished look of it. It looks very professional, and it makes my placemats look very professional. And then I just, like I said, Jean found my pin, my needle, and I just start stitching it around. Get to my corners like I did before, put a dab down, and in my previous life I would grab, there's got to be a pin in the bucket where my my fabric, yep, right in there. I would just clip it. Take these Wonder clips are your friends, you know. And just put it in there, place it in, sit down and enjoy a night of binding. That's my evening that I'm doing. I love to do that. So tonight I'm doing the binding on the Farmer's Prayer quilt, which you guys will get to maybe see tomorrow night. Because you enjoyed our walk through our boutique room on Monday night, which we love. We have 3 block of the weeks coming up this summer that I'll be showing you on Facebook within the next couple nights because, man, they are so pretty. 2 of them are designed by Whirligig Designs, which you will enjoy a lot. Farmer's Prayer, which we'll show again, and you can pre-order that. We have a lot of those coming in again because we love it very much. But this binding, doesn't it make it look pretty when I go around? The flange just offers so much character because would you rather look at something? Well, it depends on what you're making. Because here's your basic binding that we all do. But just to have this little bit of glitches. So if I had a really little red in here, wouldn't that just look awesome?
It would.
And it really doesn't take much because a lot of this is just leftover scraps that you have because it's a 1/2 inch bigger than what my binding is. So all you're doing is taking your 1/2 inch bigger, cutting them, laying them together, right sides together, stitch them down. So they're, stitched down on one side. So they're going to be a little bit, you're going to have that little lip showing. But when I bring them around and fold them even, it's going to be that little lip, which is lovely. So you guys have also heard that I happen to love something called the Prairie Pointer.
Did you find it?
The Prairie Pointer? No, I have it at the store. I have to show my Prairie Point.
Okay.
So it looks like this. So it looks very much like your flange. Because basically I took 2.5 inch strips and I folded it over and I left my little lip. So in this case, instead of having a bigger one and making it even, I have this 1/2 inch showing. But it's the back side of my Prairie Point. So when I take my tool, which I'll show you later on how to do it, and iron this in here, it gives me this beautiful Prairie Point, which I have on a little purse. And it ends up looking like this. So I took random scraps and it gives these cute little points. So it's kind of like doing a flange. It's a little flange going through there, and it's a flange in reverse. So it's kind of neat because my unfinished edge is on the inside and you do not see it. Whereas on my flange, it ends up being even. This is uneven and it's still in the middle of my Prairie Point and you don't see it. And I've seen this on antique quilts, so it's a process that's been used for a long time. But it just gives an elegant, beautiful finish. We've done it in miniatures. I've used it a lot. So I will show you guys how to do that in the future because it's so fun to do. So if there's any questions on putting flanges on your finished products, please let me know. But it gives you a beautiful, reversible, if you want it to be, or finished product. And that's my story for tonight. And I'm sticking to it because it makes your quilts look beautiful. And there's nothing better than when if you're not very talented, but you could bring out a product that looks like this, high five to you or an elbow bump to you because you did a really great job. So thank you for joining me on this Wednesday evening. Tomorrow night we are doing, so next Tuesday I get to speak to the St. Petersburg Quilt Group. So we'll be doing a Zoom with them. So I'm kind of practice what I'm going to be talking to them about tomorrow night because you have 45 minutes and I have to see how much stuff I can fit in 45 minutes, but I usually never have a problem talking. But I have to make sure I don't have too much and that I go over my 45 minutes. So you're my practice crowd tomorrow night. So thank you for joining me tonight, but I'll get to see you tomorrow night at Gruber's in our booth area. So Dilly Jean and I have a great, great night.